Hi, welcome back to my channel. Quick recap. Today, I am going to explain Extinction Movie. That is a science fiction thriller film. Watch out and take care. The film opens in a bustling city square, teeming with people as they hustle and bustle through their daily routines. The initial ambience of the town is showing a sense of peace and stillness, indicating the absence of any criminal activity. However, the peacefulness is suddenly disrupted when countless unknown aircraft unexpectedly invade from the sky and launch an indiscriminate attack on the innocent people. Peter, a witness to the chaos, observes the disastrous scenes in shock and panic from a nearby building, until one of the flying machines targets him with a missile. Peter jolts awake, drenched in perspiration, as he finds himself beside his wife Alice. He discovers that he has been plagued of recurring nightmares once again. He has nightmares in which he, along with the people he knows, experience intense and aggressive encounters resembling an invasion by an unwanted adversary enemy. Despite Alice's repeated suggestions to seek professional help from a psychiatrist, her husband consistently disregards her advice, stating that his condition will eventually improve on its own. As a result, their relationship has become tense, and now they mostly attempt to avoid interacting with each other. Alice and Peter have two daughters, Hannah and Lucy, who are also deeply concerned about their father's well-being. Peter continuously insists that he will ultimately find a solution to all of his problems without any external assistance. In an effort to reduce the tension, Peter makes a promise to his family to take them to a pier later that day before leaving for work, which brings great excitement to his young daughter Lucy. Additionally, Peter pledges to host a party the following day to celebrate Alice's recent promotion at work, in an attempt to create a joyful occasion for the family to come together and celebrate. One curious aspect of the city is that all the children are always at home, as there are no schools and education is not a priority. In addition, there is a sense of emotional detachment and lack of closeness among the people. While there are social exchanges, they seem to be emotionally cold and insincere. Afterward, while Peter is working, he experiences another instance of unusual visions, which leads to one of his equipment malfunctioning and ultimately crashing. As Peter comes to his senses and attempts to repair the malfunctioning equipment, his boss, David, arrives on the scene. David, being a kindly and understanding individual, is aware of Peter's ongoing struggles and recommends him to a good clinic for assistance. Peter expresses his disagreement with David's suggestion, insisting that what he is experiencing are not only figments of his imagination, but rather prophetic visions of incoming invasion from the sky. David warns him that he must comply with the recommendation, or else he will no longer be permitted to continue working at the office. Soon after, Peter once again encounters unusual visions. In one of these visions, Peter witnesses a horrifying scene where armed gunmen invade a building and start shooting fire on everyone in their line of sight. Peter suddenly wakes up, feeling disturbed, and realizes that he has been lost in another vivid dream while at work. To compound the situation, Peter is also running late for the family outing, leaving his children disappointed and disheartened. Frustrated and tired of the way his life has been, Peter finally makes the decision to visit the clinic. The following day, Peter informs Alice that he has scheduled an appointment with a doctor, which surprises and delights her. Peter encounters Chris, another patient at the clinic, who discloses that he is experiencing same visions. Subsequently, he begins to express his unusual visions, that an unknown entity is attempting to manipulate them by wiping their memories. These individuals are dangerous and lethal, and very soon they will arrive on Earth. Peter is puzzled by the conversation, but he decides to disregard it, given that he is in a mental health facility surrounded by other psycho patients. Peter experiences another unusual danger vision once Chris enters the doctor's office. In his vision, Peter observes David and his family carrying firearms while strolling around the city. Then Peter comes out from this, and comes to the conclusion that his visions are of an upcoming impending invasion that he doesn't want to forget. As a result, he decides to leave the clinic without receiving any treatment. When he gets back home, Alice inquires about his clinic session, and Peter confesses everything to her. Peter believes that he has been chosen to witness these visions, that they are warning him of an impending danger. Alice interrupts Peter and tells him to stop talking about his visions and get ready for the party, as she is tired of hearing about them. However, at the party, Peter notices that no one seems to be interested in eating anything, as if they don't need to eat at all. Peter's behavior remains unusual throughout the party, and he frequently stares through his telescope at the sky from the balcony. As Peter gossips with his neighbor Ray, they suddenly witness a luminous object falling from the sky. Peter initially believes that it is just a dream, but Ray confirms that it is a real occurrence. As a result of the crash, Alice and Samantha join Peter and Ray on the balcony. Suddenly, the flying object collides with a building in the vicinity, producing enormous shockwaves that devastate the city. As a result of the crash, Peter, Ray, Alice, and Samantha are thrown back into the apartment through a shattered window. They immediately stand up and rush back to the balcony, only to witness thousands of similar luminous objects descending from the sky towards the earth. Filled with fear, they quickly run back inside the home. Peter frantically searches for his children and is relieved to discover that his daughter Hannah is safe at Ray's place, spending time with Ray's daughter Maddie. However, their moment of relief is short-lived as an alien soldier suddenly appears and starts shooting at them. They manage to narrowly escape the alien and take cover. Once the things is clear, they begin to search for the girls and eventually locate them trapped in an elevator. Inside, they come across a dead woman in the trapped elevator, which confirms to them that the alien invasion is a full-scale attack on the city. Once they rescue the girls, they witness an alien soldier ruthlessly murdering other civilians. They briefly take shelter before parting ways, with each family heading to their respective homes. Upon reaching their apartment, Peter confesses to Alice that he had seen these events in his visions, but in a different way. He don't know what will happen next, but they should go to the factory where he works, as he feels it may be a safe place to take refuge. Afterward, the pair becomes aware of the sound of additional individuals being shot, prompting them to secure the main entrance and conceal the girls in their own room. Out of nowhere, an individual attempts to break through the primary entrance, causing the frightened duo to grab hold of it from the opposite side. Regrettably, in the midst of the panic, Lucy ventures out of the room in search of her stuffed toy Herman and hides under a table. In the meantime, the armed alien, unable to penetrate the door, creates a breach in the wall. Frightened, Peter and Alice rush back to their daughters, only to discover that Lucy has left the safety room. At that moment, the armed alien locates Lucy and pauses to inspect her closely. Peter seizes the opportunity of the alien's momentary distraction and launches a surprise attack from behind. Alice also arrives on the scene, and together, the couple manages to finally overpower the alien. Afterward, Peter equips himself with the weapon of the captured soldier and takes the lead, escorting his family to the rooftop where they find Ray and his family and reunite with them. The group is overcome with shock as they bear witness to the devastation of their once thriving city, now enveloped in flames. But suddenly an alien drone scans their building with a flashlight, compelling them to rapidly find cover. They soon realize that staying on the rooftop is not a viable option and make the decision to descend using the glass cleaner's lift. Tragically, one of the crane supports snaps, compelling them to take refuge in an unoccupied apartment. Meanwhile, it is revealed that the soldier they subdued earlier is still alive and actively searching for the family, using a homing signal from the weapon Peter had taken. On the other side, Peter examines the alien firearm and comes to the realization that its biometric trigger restricts firing to its rightful owner only. As they hear the sound of approaching aliens, Peter urges the group to make haste towards the basement of his factory, which he concedes to be the only place of refuge according to his. Despite the horrifying presence of aliens surrounding the entire region, Peter is uncertain about how to reach the factory's basement. However, Alice comes to the rescue with a suggestion. She remembers discovering tunnels during her work in the past, and proposes that they use these tunnels. Without warning, an alien vessel releases a gunfire of deadly fire upon the group from above, leaving Ray and his family dead in a moment. Acting quickly, Peter leads his own family out of the apartment, and confronted by a pair of armed aliens in the hallway. Taking cover, Peter and his family hide from the approaching aliens as he frantically attempts to override the biometric authentication of the alien weapon. Miraculously, he succeeds just in time to eliminate the two soldiers. The family then makes their way out of the building and runs towards the tunnel, hoping to reach safety. As they approach the tunnel entrance, they come under heavy fire from the alien ships, causing Alice to be injured in the chaos. Peter tends to his wife's injuries while trying to fend off the attack. Just then, the alien soldier from earlier catches up to them and launches a surprise attack on Peter. After a fierce struggle, Peter manages to shatter the alien's helmet. To their surprise, the soldier removes the helmet to reveal that he is not an alien, but a human like them. As Alice's condition worsens, Peter demands the truth from the soldier he had just unmasked. Holding him at gunpoint, he instructs him to carry Alice to safety at the factory. After arriving at the factory, they are united by David and a group of armed men who join forces with them. However, Peter is shocked when the doctor seems to electrocute Alice as if she were a piece of technology. Peter is then informed by David that the alien invasion was anticipated for a long time and the majority of the Earth's population was aware of it. Upon examining Alice, the medic informs Peter that her internal organs have been extensively damaged and that there is no chance of saving her. At that moment, the soldier, who is being taken away for execution, yells out that he can help Alice and save her. Peter is doubtful at first, but when he sees the desperate state of his dying wife, he decides to take a chance and listen to the soldier's claims of being able to save her. Peter chooses to stay with the soldier and Alice, while he sends his daughters with David to a nearby subway station where they will be transported to an off-site base. Before leaving, the couple's daughters said an emotional goodbye to their parents, uncertain if they would see them again. After their departure, the soldier opens up Alice's wound and reveals several wires and other mechanical components inside her body. Peter is confounded and demands an explanation. The soldier reveals to Peter that Alice is not a human being, but an artificial intelligence robot designed to look and function like a human. Peter is shocked by this revelation and left speechless. The soldier then explains that Alice's power source has been damaged beyond repair and the only way to save her is to transfer her programming and power source into Peter's body. Guided by the soldier, Peter takes out a pocket knife and hesitantly begins to cut his chest open. Despite making a deep incision, he feels no pain during the process. Upon finishing, he observes the presence of artificial organs and wires inside his body, confirming that he is also an artificial being. As Peter attempts to come to terms with this revelation, the soldier produces a cable and connects the two synthetics, causing Peter to lose consciousness. During this time, he undergoes a vivid and detailed experience of his repetitive nightmares. Peter discovers that his recurring nightmares are not visions of the future, but rather memories of a past war. Years ago, humans had created synthetic robots to assist them and improve their quality of life. However, the synthetics evolved to become highly intelligent and demanded equal treatment to humans, sparking a revolution. The human military, afraid of an impending war, launched an attack on the unarmed synthetics and killed many of them. The synthetic robots retaliated with their superior strength and intelligence after the human military attacked them, ultimately forcing the humans to leave Earth. Peter was involved in killing one of the individuals during the conflict, and it is also disclosed that he and Alice were also mates during the disruption. On a particular day, when they were battling against the humans, they stumbled upon Hannah and Lucy, who were mourning the loss of their parents. Although the girls were synthetics, they had been taken in by human parents, possibly due to their inability to conceive children. Upon encountering the upset sisters, Peter and Alice soothed their distress and made the loving decision to adopt them. In order to cope with the guilt they felt over their participation in the war, a majority of the synthetic population, including Peter and his family, chose to erase their memories and assimilate into human society without any recollection of their true identity or past experiences. On the other hand, individuals such as David opted to retain their memories, recognizing the emerging threat of a vengeful humans seeking retaliation and using their knowledge to prepare for potential conflicts. Additionally, it is revealed that the clinic Peter visited earlier is one of the facilities responsible for administering memory suppression treatments to the synthetic population. As some of the synthetics are starting to regain certain parts of their memories, they are once again being directed to the same clinic for memory suppression procedures. Returning to the present, Peter and Alice awaken and find Miles, the soldier, has informed them that following the humans' exodus from Earth aboard spaceships, they resettled on Mars and began preparations for their ultimate retaliation. While residing on Mars, the elders instilled in the younger generation the belief that the synths were dreadful beings that owned solely the ability to kill. After 50 years of preparation, they successfully constructed highly advanced machinery and weaponry to aid them in retaking, which they have now deployed to return to Earth and reclaim what they believe is rightfully theirs. Even so, Miles had always been conditioned to view synths as monsters rather than as families with children. However, after catching a glimpse of Lucy cowering down the table, he realized that he could not bring himself to harm anyone. Following Miles' revelation, Peter is taken aback, but still expresses gratitude for his assistance before departing with his wife. However, as they make their way to the tracks, they become unintentionally involved in a fierce exchange of gunfire between the synthetics and humans. Fortunately, the synthetic beings hold their ground, affording Peter and Alice the opportunity to flee from the area and eventually make their way to the station, where the train is preparing to depart. Despite their escape to the train station, the humans eventually arrive and initiate an attack. But David's persistent fighting holds them off for a time, enabling Peter, Alice, and himself to board the train. Following their departure on the train, David discloses that he chose to retain his memories in order to concern himself for the impending war, a decision that ultimately proved advantageous. Peter offers David a tender smile and expresses his hope for a day when peace can exist between humans and synthetic beings. The film concludes with the train departing from the war-torn city, providing the synthetics aboard with the opportunity to strategize their next steps. Thanks for watching, guys.